Yeah, good day everyone. We are here once again and welcome to today's online class with Mr. Michael. Today we'll be looking at a special topic, though we have treated this before in our basic science. We are looking at the soil. Yes, soil. Like we all know, the soil is not a new thing to us. We have talked about soil, we've heard about soil, we've seen soil before, we have worked with soil, we've done different things with soil. Now, what is this soil? We all know that soil, in the simple way, it is the loose surface of the earth. Either you say it's the loose surface or the uppermost part of the earth, or you call it the top surface of the earth, which support plant growth. Yes, because I believe that all of us know what plants are. We know what farming is. No one has ever planted in the air. No one has ever planted on top of water. No one has ever planted in his mind or her mind, unless you are thinking about it. We all do all this. All agricultural practices are carried out on soil. So this soil, it is the uppermost, or it is the loose surface of the earth's crust which supports plant growth. Now, how does it support plant growth? This is coming from where we have the different the composition of soil. But before we go to the composition of soil, let's look at the different types of soil. Number one, first of all, we have the clay soil. We have the loamy soil, and we have the sandy soil. Now, these soils are different both in particles, their physical appearance and forms, and their contents or composition. For example, this clay soil, we are not going to brief on it because we know we talked about this before. We all know that we have people, great artists in our communities and societies. We have done some artistic work in our classes. We have done molding. So, this clay soil is the type of soil that is used by artists for molding, like for poultry. That's people that mold clay pots. So this is the type of soil that they use. Why do they use it? Because it retains a whole lot of water. So when they get it, they have to pound it. After pounding it, they will discover that after pounding it, it becomes so thick and strong. So it can be able to withstand any kind of stress. That is why it is being used by what? Potters for pottery work. So most of the clay pot you see at home, even we have clay houses that were used by our ancient parents. They are people today. People are still using living in mud houses. Those mud houses contain most of this clay soil because they can retain water and become so strong. So now, what about the loamy soil? This one is one of the soil that is best with agricultural practices. Like I said earlier, maybe on your way to school or in the videos and your books, we have read people going on agricultural practices like farming. This is that you can't farm on land on sandy soil. We can't farm on clay soil. We only farm on loamy soil. Loamy soil is not that grasses don't grow on sandy soil or clay soil, but the best soil for agricultural practices is the loamy soil because of what its content, and it also retains water, but not as much as clay soil does. Then the sandy soil, this one does not retain any water at all. In as much as water drop on it is running off. So, and it is rough. When you touch it, it is rough and gritty. So this one is used for sand filling, and is used for different purposes. So which we have talked about before. Now we have known the different types of soil, but each of these, it depends on all these, even the silts as it is. All of them contain sand, but it depends on the quantity of sand that is contained on each of these soil that makes them different from each other. This one has the smallest quantity of sand, followed by silt. Followed by this. This one has the least. This one has the least next to this. This one next to silt. Then sandy soil. Sand itself, as in it contains itself. Let's just say it that way. So now we are going to look at the composition of this soil. The composition, because we all know that as soil is, for it to be able to be used for agricultural practices, that means those things that agriculturists need to make their crop grow, those things are contained in the soil. Now let's look at this. Number one, before you choose a place to plant, you must think of water. Let's start with water. No plant grows without water. No plant grows without water. Even as human beings, we need water. So if we human beings for a plant that don't need water, we need water, air. There is no living thing, because we all know that plants are also living things. So they need water. They need air to breathe, since they are also living things. Then we'll talk about minerals. Minerals. Maybe some people what kind of not just mineral, let's call it mineral matter or materials rather. People will say, what type of mineral materials are we even talking about? Or is it the minerals of crude oil, or we are going to look into that. Then also we have the organic materials. Organic materials. These things are very important. And each of them there's a particular quantity that each of them contains on each soil. The reason why some plants grow on different soil than others, or the same cassava you plant here in Enugu State or in Lagos State, the one in Abuja might be used different from the one in that. Sometimes it is not based on the species of the cassava. We know that cassavas have different species, but the species we plant in Lagos, if you take it to Abuja and plant them, the yield will be different. Why? Because of the difference in what? The soil structure. So now, soil as it is, it contains water. Now, what is the quantity of water that the soil contains? Number one, soil contains water. We will be using this. Anyway, water is 25% of water. Soil contains 25% of water in it. So that is why this water helps the plants to eat, to feed, because we all know that water is food. So anywhere that there is no water, even you human being, you can't live in that kind of place, not to talk of plants. Through the roots, it feeds, the plants feed, take water up to their leaves and to the process of photosynthesis. Now, also we have air. The air content is also 25%. That means water and air have taken half of the composition of the soil. Just half of it. Let's just take this to be our soil. Now, half of it is for water and air, to let you know how important it is. If there is no water to drink and there is no air to breathe, then it's as good as being there. That is why even the aquatic animals, for example fishes, they live in the water, there's still air inside water. That is why they can be able to survive. Then, also we have the mineral materials. This mineral materials is 45% of the soil space. Mineral matter, not the mineral materials is 45%. And what are these mineral materials? Most of this, when we hear about mineral material, we're talking about what contribute to the fertility of the soil. Yes, those things that increases soil fertility, and they also affect the ability of plants to yield well. Those ones are called the mineral material. Then the organic materials. This one is the least. Organic materials is just 5%. Just 5. Maybe even human beings need only 5% of it. So now these organic materials, we are talking about the decomposed dead animals, because you know that if like dead animals equally add to the fertility of the soil. So the fertility of the soil that is contributed by those dead animals is just 5%. So and those don't fall under the organic materials. So you see that the highest of it all is minerals, then air and water has the same content in the soil, but the organic material contain only 5%. Now this air, like I said earlier, the air also, because what we need to know is this: the reason why air is very important is not just only for plants. Let's look at the advantages of soil. Soil serves as what? As a habitat to living things. Example, we have seen animals like sometimes even crickets, they live under the soil. We've seen snakes, we've seen rats, millipedes, centipedes, all of them. Some they dig the soil to live under the soil. Now, if some of them, when they get to the soil, you see that they will block the hole. So how do you think they breathe? Because the air content of the soil is what is sustaining those animals down there. And even the plants, the quantity of air that they can get through the roots is what supports the one they get from the human being, because we breathe out carbon dioxide, which is very useful to them, while they give us oxygen that is useful to us. All is still air. So now, since the soil serves as habitat to these living things, if there is no air under the soil, how do you think those animals will survive? So that is how this air is very important. So when we say it serves as habitat, it serves as a living place for them, just like you live in your house. That is how animals, some animals, for example, maybe worms, live under the soil. The soil also serves as what? As a hold onto what we talk about organic materials, to nutrients that are being fed upon by plants. So if the soil does not have any organic material, if there are no manure, if there are no nutrients, how do you think our plants will survive? So that is why this organic is very important in the soil, and that is its basic function in the soil. Then water, we all know what water is. Water, I know that there are someone will say that water doesn't have enemy. It's not true. Sorry, it's not a lie. Water has no enemy. Even water is a friend to itself. Even enemies of water cannot do without water. And then, who is the enemy of water? Nobody. Human being drinks water. Aquatic animals, those of the around inside water, they drink water. Plants, you make use of water. So, you can see that even from the formation of the soil, when we talk about soil formation, let's not talk about the formation of the soil so we understand this more. You know, the soil is formed from rocks. The process of soil forming from rocks is called rock weathering. The breaking down of rocks into smaller particles that can be washed, and when those particles are being broken down, they are being washed away by running water. Now, if they are washed to a different place, they have become soil to that very part of the earth that they find themselves. And now, what makes this rock to break? Harsh weather. Sometimes volcanic eruption causes this rock. Once they break, because if there's so much sun on them, you see that they will start breaking up. And now, after breaking, you see that the agent of this soil formation, one of the agents is water, running water. If water runs through or rain falls and wash the top of the rocks, the broken ones will be washed away to a different place. Another one is air. Air is also an agent of soil formation, because when the rocks breaks down, when there's heavy air blowing or breeze, it will blow it off to another place. Sometimes even living things like you and myself. Because sometimes you see some people, they want to sit somewhere, they will just maybe they want to sit on top of maybe stone, or maybe they will visit maybe the water side. So maybe there's a stone or a rock there, they will just clean it, blow it, and they sit. So those particles have been taken from the rock to the soil. Some people will even sit on it without cleaning it. They will sit on it, or they will play on it, they will take the particles to another place. So those particles, when they get there, clean themselves, those particles will drop on that particular place. So it forms different types of soil. So that is why when the soil is formed, as it is forming, or during the process of formation, that is how these other materials, other contents, or the composition of the soil will start growing. Because just like if someone opens a new shop across, you will say, okay, one day, let me not buy here, let me go there. Because the person is selling what the other person is selling. So before you know, you start going to that place. So you are helping to build up that shop. That's exactly what. So the organism, those animals that will say, okay, the air has expanded, let me go there and say, since people are disturbing me here, let me go that place and build my house. That is it. So that's how we know that majorly we have water, air, mineral materials, and organic material, the basic four composition of the soil. Each of them a different percentage. Water carries 25%, air takes 25%, mineral materials take 25%, while organic material, the depth of living organisms, take 5%. So, you and I, most times our remains, when we are done with our existence, when we die, we are buried. Once we are buried, we fall under these organic materials. Some people are not even buried. Some animals are not buried. They will just be killed and just decay where they are. Add more nutrients to the soil. They fall under organic materials. We will have a practical work to do. Each and every one of you will come with the different categories of soil, different types of soil. And we will use each and every one of them for agricultural purpose. We will use each and every one of them for artistic purpose. We use them for what they're supposed to be used for. So if we use sand for agricultural purpose and it doesn't do well, we will know that sand is not good for agricultural purposes. If we use clay soil for agricultural purpose, it doesn't do well, we will know it's not good for that. We will use loamy soil for artistic work. We will use sandy soil for artistic work. So from them, anyone that gives us the result, we will know that, okay, this is what this one is best used for. Like I said, my name is Mr. Michael. I will hope to meet with you again so we'll discuss more on this. This is just an introductory aspect of what the soil contains. So I will expect more questions from you. The more you ask, I will explain more, you will understand it more. So that if your questions will make me know the area that I did not really touch. Once I know where I have not really touched, you'll be able to go to that area so I understand more better. Like I said, my name is Mr. Michael. Just take good care of yourself, be attentive, and take this on your head, and stay safe. Bye for now.